Hello everyone, this is Red Dude. What did you not know about sex until you lost your virginity? NSFW. It pains me to write this. I didn't know Magnum condoms were for larger penises, so I got some BC. The gold and black on the box looked cool, literally was like a plastic grocery bag holding a baguette. But she might shake when she cooms. I was scared and saying I'm sorry. Because I thought I heard her and she responded with sorry for what? If you press the clit and the left nipple at the same time she'll take a screenshot. I really didn't think it would be so wet. Every part of it is just so wet. But he hit the G-spot, just that whole feeling in general. I stopped him because I thought I had to pee. I was wrong and baffled, lol. I'm so happy that my husband picked up on this. I've got trauma history, so it took a long time to get to a point where I felt safe and comfortable with sex, not to mention not having to stop for panic attacks. Thankfully I'm much better now, but it's still sometimes difficult for me to orgasm. G-spot accounts for like 90% of my orgasms. For men who aren't aware. Have woman on her back. Insert preferred finger, palm facing ceiling, into vagina. Gently feel along roof of vagina until you feel a spot that's sorta wrinkly. Make come hither motion pressing on this spot. Go forth and prosper. I was always a bit embarrassed for how my dick curves up until about my mid-20s when I realized the power I hold. Curvy dick kings. Know that you hold the key to explosive orgasms. Grind, don't thrust. Pussy can spasm strongly enough to let my dick feel the squeeze, and enthusiasm is like 90% of the fun, since I had no clue what I was doing, but had a blast. One of my favorite things to do is purposely squeeze. I do it to tease my husband cause he has to dead stop for a few seconds. Anytime I do it to avoid getting off early, it's fun cause it just riles him up more. Anytime I happen to get off mid-sex he ends up cooming at the same time cause of the intense spasms. My reaction, 90% of the time, that's what sends him over the edge, since he always makes sure I get off at least once if not more, before he ever even thinks about putting his dick in. If I happen to get off before penetration I normally can orgasm through it alone after. I'm one of the lucky ones in that regard. How guys can get anxious and not coom for hours. It was fine by me, but it was a new experience for sure. This, along with a lot of things, really, needs to be told to people when they are coming of age. Growing up, you hear so many jokes about guys lasting a ridiculously short time in bed, how sex is so amazing, and you'll just explode instantly from how good it feels. You build up all this anxiety in your head. Wow, I hope I can last more than a few seconds. Then you finally have sex for the first time. You're so nervous you can't maintain an erection for very long. The actual sex feels weird, nothing like the mind-blowing pleasure you were expecting. You can't coom, and then you start thinking something is wrong with you. It's not until after some time, after you have more experience with how everything works and feels and you can relax a little bit, that you start to get the hang of it, but nobody talks about that. Of course, everyone's experience will vary, but after talking with a lot of my friends and seeing comments online, I've come to realize the situation I described above is not uncommon at all, but it really fucks with a lot of people's heads. How awkward all the movements are until you get used to it with your partner. It's basically a naked dance. That's true, you really do have to work together and it's important to get in a flow. Shower sex isn't extra slippy, it's actually less wetness. I was confused about this the first time I had shower sex and needed to use lube cause we were wet but also so dry. I totally get it, showers are no entry areas, kissing licking act all works, but the natural lube is gone and that means no poking. Still fun for intimate exploration though. Cleaning up afterwards showed me the importance of planning and not having sex in a car. That coom does not in fact taste how it looks. How awkward some situations are. I've had some of the best sex with people I wasn't at first really attracted to, and vice versa. Bad chemistry with an attractive partner is not great sex. Hard lesson to learn. I actually didn't even find out until an embarrassing number of years after losing my virginity, but that condoms aren't supposed to hurt. Not the way they hurt me anyways. Surprise, you have a latex allergy. Your family can't hear you. Or that it sometimes has a very recognizable smell. I had a roommate whose room always smelled like sex. Years ago I worked as security at a local theme park. I noticed a car hanging around in the employee parking lot that shouldn't have still been there. After closing, when I drove up and knocked on the fogged up window, they rolled it down to talk to me. The smell that emerged from the open window was very strong. I told the two very embarrassed girls in the car that wasn't the place and they needed to move along. When they came through the security post to go to work the next few days, they wouldn't look me in the eye. Bed squeak. You ain't Lynn. I've had two separate instances with two different people when I still lived with my mom and she'd text me stop having sex. I was on the second floor above the living room and the girl was on top. A lot of moving parts going on there including the bed. When I was 16, me and my girlfriend at the time were in the middle of it when we were shouted down for dinner. We came downstairs and sat with my mum and dad just said, "Sounds like you two were playing squash up there." My GF went so red, but we all had a good laugh about it. Love my parents for not being super strict. Defo learned my lesson though. I was so innocent at 19 that I thought men had two ball sacks, like that balls were literally two separate balls, not two balls in one sack. I asked that poor guy, "What's wrong with you?" And he, being honestly a great dude, just laughed and asked me what I thought was wrong. This moment brought to you by the Catholic school system. That semen comes back out when you stand up. I guess I thought your body just absorbed it or something, but yeah, was quite surprised. Not me, but my friend thought the vagina was on the front. He came out and was shocked it was on the bottom. He came out. I'm just imagining you all standing outside the door cheering him on. That laughter is part of great sex. Unless they're laughing at you. Test farts. Didn't realize that was a thing until it happened. One of my ex thought I farted during the act, but it was a chest fart. She looked at me confused and we slightly lauded it off. After 2 minutes another came and she pushed me back saying, "Are you serious?" 1, I can understand, but 2, you're disgusting. I then explained to her that it was chest farts and we laughed so much. It was actually a pretty funny moment. But it's like not a huge event, big deal to do. If you would have told me at the age of 13-15 that my husband and I could just have sex at 2:43 p.m. on a Thursday in between folding laundry and going to Walmart, I would have never in a million years believed it. But it's hard to penetrate if it's not that wet, so guys, go for foreplay. Always preheat the oven before you put in the turkey. But your dick can go numb, rock hard and feel nothing. Butthole visibility during doggy-style porn did not prepare me for it. Don't get me wrong, it wasn't a negative realization. I just remember thinking, wow, that's just her entire butthole, and I got self-conscious about where to look and if I was staring at it too long. I brought it up afterwards by asking, "Is it weird that I can just see your butthole?" To which she replied, "I mean, it wasn't until you said something TLDR, unexpected eye contact, don't bring it up." Lasting too long is just as much of an issue as blowing your load quickly, both physically and mentally, especially with a partner that won't understand. I'm on a lot of medications. It's pretty much impossible for me to finish, like I can feel it all building up and it's like I'm almost there, and then that's just where I stay hanging off the edge of the cliff. My first time was very disappointing and lasted less than 2 minutes, foreplay included. My second time was 4 hours straight and I just wanted it to be over. Every person is different, anxiety can do some crazy shit. I didn't realize how fast a girl could make me feel like a hot dog in the microwave after 30 seconds. I'm not too sure about you, but when I put a hot dog in the microwave it kinda bursts right along that seam. You doing okay, mate? You gotta stab it with a fork a couple times and that will let the steam out so it won't burst. Still concerned for op in that case. I would hope there are no penny being stabbed. I didn't know what to do after I got my penis into her vagina. We just hold still and kiss in this position. It wasn't until I started pulling out that I realized I wanted it right back in there. This reminds me of the story of the doctor who had a visit from a young married couple who had grown up quite sheltered. After a year of married life, she still wasn't pregnant and they were concerned something was wrong. After asking some questions, he had them explain what they were doing, every step. Then he said, "Next time you get to there, move back and forth." They came back a week later, all smiles, to thank him. So I grew up going to a pretty sex-negative all-girls Catholic school with parents that didn't talk to me about sex. Here's some things that caught me by surprise. Didn't know it was an in-out motion, like I knew penis vagina, but that was the extent of it. So when I lost my virginity and dudes started going in and out, I was like, oh, that's how it works. Didn't know that sex positions were a thing, assumed it always had to be missionary. Didn't know girls could masturbate, that was news to me. It wasn't until my 5th sex partner that I found out that hard and soft actually literally meant hard and soft. I had no idea penises actually got squishy. I thought they were always the same consistency and that hard meant they were sticking up and soft meant they were just hanging out. Didn't realize this until about a year after I lost my virginity, but sex is actually super fun and cool. Growing up, it was always made to seem like it was something I'd have to put up with for my future husband or whatever. And the first few times honestly did suck, so that belief was never challenged. It was only after some personal growth and feeling less insecure in myself that I started to really enjoy it. Sex is awesome, it's one of my favorite things, but it definitely wasn't like that from the beginning. Took a while to learn my own body. Thanks for watching, this was Red Dude. If you enjoyed the content, make sure to check out my other content.